Hello, ladies and gentlemen, it's Mike here at Gamefromscratch, and today we are taking a sneak peek at Godot 4.8. Now, lately I've been putting these dev sneak peeks together into a single video because, honestly, 4.8 was looking a little light, especially on demonstrative new features, but today we're going to break that mold because there's a lot of really cool things that were just announced in Godot 4.8 Dev 4. We'll come back to the release notes in just a sec. First, I want to show you hands-on what you can expect. So these are the features that are currently in development. In theory, they will make it to beta and then ultimately release candidate and hopefully in Godot 4.8 in about, say, 2 months' time. So what do we have new here? Well, this new one is one of my two favorites. I got two favorites here. There's a reorganization of the way that these panels work, and it's something I've always found a little frustrating, so I like this change for sure. As what you'll notice here is we've got, for example, the asset store. Let's say I don't want the asset store. Well, I could go ahead and say, oh, go away. That's pretty freaking cool. So you can get rid of whichever panels you don't want. The other neat thing you can do for all of them except for games, so let's say my script here, I've got multiple displays working on, I can go ahead and I can now float those like so. I don't know how to unfloat it, mind you, but I do know how to get it all back to the way that it was. So you can float things down, any one of these panels you want, float them out however you wish. By the way, while I've got the script here, I want to showcase another new feature that they added in the 4.8 Dev 4 release, and that is this. Notice this little script I've set up, the indentations here. We've got a subclass called Mike's class with the functions superclass and another world of class inside. We've also got the function funky and so on. Look at how the outline now works. It indents them according to how they should look. This is going to be just so much easier to navigate than the way that it used to be before. Before it used to be like kind of a flat representation. So you'd have Mike's class, superclass, or Mike's class, another world of class, kind of all on a single line. Now you get indentation that actually represents where things should be within your script. It's a little thing, but it should make the outliner here just that much more usable. I very much appreciate that. By the way, if you go ahead and you mess things up or you get rid of something that you want to have back, you can come on up here to editor docs. So for example, I want asset browser back. I can come in here and pick asset store. Now you may notice this is in a completely arbitrary order. I have no idea why. But yeah, that's not an ordered menu. So you can see here, there, you've got your asset store back. By the way, you cannot float game, just a limitation of how it works right now. On top of that, we also have this option over here, editor layout, and I can just go back to default and we'll be back where we started with all this. Again, some very cool stuff. Now let's head back over to 3D and we're going to showcase another neat new feature here. I've got this rock in this scene here. You're going to notice if I move this rock around, we have this kind of trail that follows it right there. So if you need to have a magical trail, you can now do this super easy. How am I doing this trail? Well, it is done via this trail 3D node that I have attached to it. You've got two options with how this works. Right now, it is using time. So over time, I'll go back and grab my rock again. Over time, it will fade. So this is, I think, 5 seconds I have it set for, like so. You could also go ahead and say like this if you want to do, so that's 1.27 or 217 time. I can also set that out to length like this, and then it will limit to a length of 5. So as I move my rock around in the world, the attached trail will grow to a max length and no more. So what's kind of neat about this, if you want to do like a Tron light cycle style game, it'd be super easy now with this new trail class. By the way, while we are here, you may notice that we are getting a gradient effect on our trail. That is completely optional. I've actually set that up so we can come up here. I have a gradient on here. I could go ahead and clear that out. So now it will be without a gradient. Also, you can define the color over here. So let's make this red or pink. I guess that would be like so. So hot pink. And now we have a fixed color of our trail, no gradient. And then you can see the results there. Super easy to work with class. You can do all kinds of neat things with this one. And again, you can do this based off of a fixed length, like so. Or you can do it based off of a duration by switching the timeout like this. Let's make that duration a little bit longer. Grab this guy over here. And then you can see now it is going to be duration based. And it will fade over time like that. Very handy functionality, and again, super simple to work with. Now, we got a couple of other things. I said earlier on, this was my favorite. Well, my second favorite is this. So what you'll notice here is two things. One is a very annoying strobing texture. We'll get back to that in just a second. The other thing is all your base R belong to us. Now, let me show you something. Oh, I've wanted that for so very long. It is a beautiful new feature. You'll notice down here it is resize font to fit. There is your default as it stands. So if you were to change the size of your label, it would do absolutely nothing. But now you can come in here and say resize to fit, and then boom, like so. And you can also set a min size. So we could say a minimum of 4, a maximum of 444. And then you will notice as I expand, we can go big and we can go very, very, very small. So lovely feature. It's just one of those things that if you've ever worked with labels, this is something you've no doubt had to do, and this is going to make it so much easier to work with. Now, the other thing we've got going on here again is this very annoying strobing panel. Why is that? Well, because I have a shader attached to it. Why do I have a shader attached to it? Because I want to showcase the new shader functionality that we've got here. So you're going to notice here, this is just a texture, and then here we have this function called flicker. What is flicker? Well, it is a group. So right now you can come in here, add a new node of type group, like so. And now inside of said group, so here's one I've actually completed, it needs to have an input and it needs to have an output, and then in between you can do whatever you want. So here is my randomizing the min and max value of this as we're coming out. So this is going to come out. So you've got your ports. You can have multiple connections in and out, by the way. You pick the type it is. So this is a float that I am therefore attaching to the alpha channel. Go back out here. You can notice there, our float connects into the alpha here. So it's a way of creating reusable code in code groups very easily. Now, there's a couple things I would like to see added. One of them would definitely be to be able to take an existing node and say add to or create a group. That would be so much easier. And another thing is, so here is that second node group I created. One of the things you're going to notice with it is you can't actually, you can't edit the name. You actually have to edit the name over here in properties. And that's a little awkward. I'd love to be able to come up here, quickly rename the name. But for a new feature, definitely a nice step forward. So again, would really be nice to see, again, add to or create a group node. But group node's pretty easy to work with. And again, you can set up the inputs and the outputs. If you want to go ahead and edit it, you click the little pen icon. When you are done, you click this little up arrow icon, and you are back out. All right, that's it for the hands-on portion. There's actually a lot more in this release as well. So here we are back to 4.8 Dev 4. Now, they actually mentioned in their release notes that people have, looks like they've just been working on stability and bug fixes, because I'll be honest, making videos on the previous dev releases was challenging because there wasn't that much exciting stuff to showcase. This video was super easy. I'm already at the 7-minute mark with just the hands-on demonstration, and I haven't shown you everything. So nice to see more things coming in. So we got a bunch more to share in this 4.8 release. Again, we have the new VFX Trail 3D. You can use time-based or length-based. Really cool. So you can see a special effect being done using it right there. It's going to make certain things a lot easier to implement. Then again, we've got visual shader node groups available as well. We've got the ability to, so this is the actual change of where those tabs work. There's a lot more to it, but it's convert the main screen plugins into docs. So main screen editors aren't tied to specific plugins anymore, instead being regular editor docs. Main screen docs have their own editor settings for tabs style. All main screens can be closed, and then all main screens can float except for game, which currently cannot. I don't know if that's going to change over time or not. Again, script method outline is now using a tree. Here's how it used to be. So again, you can see it makes it so much clearer the level of indentation you are, how class hierarchies work, etc. Little change, but I definitely like that one there as well. And this one is a godsend. Label and rich label text label. So rich text label. Again, you can now set it to this automatically scale auto font sizing. Love that. That is a wonderful new feature. We also have some rendering improvements here. We now have multi-bounce ambient occlusion approximation. So you can see the results of it right here. So there it is disabled, and here it is enabled. So what you're getting is the bounce after the bounce, I believe, is how it works. If you want to get into the full technical details, the implementation was based off of this SIGGRAPH presentation, so you can get into the nitty-gritty weeds of how it works. But basically, your ambient occlusion should look better. Also, if you are doing your rendered lights instead of, so if you're using baked lights in Lightmap GI, so now you're going to be able to bake, so any directional specular information can not only be baked into Lightmap GI, but will reduce comparable results to the real-time directional lights. So you can see with it turned off and then with it turned on, the lighting results. So you're going to get much different or theoretically better results when you bake your light maps out with this new functionality. On top of that, on the compatibility render now has support for decals. So that's Again, nice little feature. This is if you're using the compatibility renderer, that functionality is there. And by the way, if you were doing an Android or Java build, now super simple to get the JDK installed. It is implemented directly within, so it gets you to set it up and install it directly from inside of Godot. Should make life easier as well. And then a bunch of other smaller things as well. So ladies and gentlemen, that is Godot 4.8 Dev 4 of the dev releases, by far and away the most exciting new one. And now we've got some sexy new things to wait for with Godot 4.8. But if you're curious, what about those earlier releases? I have done videos on them. So I did a Dev 1 release there. So you got changes to the way that the game viewers looked, drag, toggle visibility and scene tree, 3D grid map axis overrides, pseudo localization previews, sticky tree items. I do like that one, by the way. And then touch support in text editors, and then fuzzy search for core APIs. Again, not the sexiest things to demonstrate. And then the next release, I had to build this into two. So Dev 2 and Dev 3 together, because there was very, very little in that particular one. That was really worth looking at there. That's some nice little things like file system dock zooming. So if you came in here, and switched over to, oops, I'm doing this wrong. All right, here we go. So we're in split mode right there. I switched the view over here to icon. You can now do little things like zoom in and out. Useful for sure, but maybe a little bit less sexy than some of the stuff I just showcased today. And by the way, I apologize for the number of times I used that word today, but let me know what you think of Godot 4.8 as it's shaping up and the various different features that are available, especially in this Dev 4 release. I like it. And I'm curious, what do you think? Let me know. Comments down below. I'll talk to you all later. Goodbye.